Hello again. So I'm supposed to take the seat on the right, and here we are. Okay, I think it's been a very interesting afternoon with the Academy, and at this time, I think it's almost 4:35 in the evening, and we're all ready to kind of hit the bar after this. But it's bright and early in the morning for Hazel, who's joining us live from the UK. Hi, Hazel.
Hi, Syaheed. How you doing?
I'm good, having an excellent time over here with everybody live in person. We wish you were here. You're usually based in Singapore, aren't you?
I am, yeah. So I do live in Singapore, but I'm currently in the UK. So it's early morning for me, but afternoon for you guys. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Yep, just about. Had your cup of coffee and we're ready to go?
Always ready to go.
So let's start off with, again, a very basic introduction. Describe Hazel Savage, describe Museo. What is it that you do?
Absolutely. So I always describe Musio as an artificial intelligence company for the music industry. But really, to kind of break that down, what we're doing is we're using artificial intelligence to analyze audio files, to analyze MP3s or WAV files. And then what we're able to do with those is we can add metadata. We can tell you the key, we can tell you the BPM, we can tell you what else you sound like, we can tell you in a database of music what you're the closest match to. And we can also tell you how close you are to the top 100,000 hits from the last 10 years. So we can tell you your kind of likelihood of success. So really, we're a data processing company. It just so happens that the data we process is exclusively music.
Right. And I read a quote from one of your previous interviews that you said that, if you needed to process a song or 2 or 10 songs, you will be able to do it yourself in 10 minutes. And what you're building is the ability to, do it at scale, 10,000, 20,000 songs, correct? Or even
Absolutely.
more.
I actually had a meeting in London with a guy the other day. He's in the sort of gaming industry, but used to be a recording artist. And I said, play me one of your tracks right now. I'll tell you, what genre I think it is. I'll tell you the BPM. I'll probably be able to tell you the key if you give me a minute or two. I could tell you like if there's singing on a track, what instruments are playing, and I could do that really effectively. I could probably do that better than an artificial intelligence, but my company does that to the tune of 5 million tracks a day, which I cannot do. So that's where AI becomes really effective, when things are at such a scale that it no longer is physically possible for humans to do the work.
So I have 2 parts to kind of follow up what you just said. Maybe first and foremost, why is that important? Why is knowing the BPM, the genre, the instrumentation, why is it important? How is it important to the artist or the song or the company?
Yeah, absolutely. It's important mostly for discovery. So if you have 60,000 new tracks being uploaded to every streaming service a day, you have hundreds of thousands being uploaded to user-generated platforms, whether that's TikTok or any of the various sort of karaoke apps, then there's now an unmanageable amount of music. And if we want to understand what we should put in playlists, what might be popular, what goes well together in a playlist, what we could recommend for music for advertising, for a TV show, for a title sequence at Netflix, we have to understand the music we have. So adding data around those tracks is really just the first step in being able to understand what you have and therefore being able to do something with it. And from an artist perspective, that generally is based around discovery.
So that's a very important, actually my follow-on question, as an artist and as someone wearing green pants, as a wannabe artist, why is that important? I mean, your company deals it at scale, and so it's largely B2B, right? How is this interesting to an artist? How would I, as an artist, benefit from working with Museo or companies that work with Museo?
So actually, one of the example I'll use here is in an activation we did with Vans, the footwear company in China. Essentially, they run a competition every year called Musicians Wanted, and anyone can upload their music. You know, it's based in Southeast Asia, includes Australia and Japan as well, and they basically are looking for new talent in the region. They usually get sort of between 10 and 20,000 entrants a year. Sort of previous to working with Musio, the reality was that's too many tracks to listen to all the way through, to manually process. Your chance of missing something is quite high. With Museo's technology, we're able to, you know, fingerprint all of the tracks and create shortlists for each country based on, you know, the parameters that Vans have told us, what suits their brand, what they're looking for. So to me, the difference is between, you know, if it's manually done by humans, the chances of being heard at all are kind of very random and small. With AI, everything gets listened to, everything gets processed, and it might not be to the same, you know, the same high rate as if it was a human, but 100% capture versus 1% or 5% is still better, and it's fairer. It means that more artists will have an opportunity. If you're good and you're in that database of music, we can find you, whereas your best hope is random if it's manual only.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point, that a lot of what you are assisting artists to do at this moment is really enabling discovery, because you have all these additional metadata points that will go into whether it's a DSP somewhere, and someone can say, I want to hear something of this style, and boom, because the metadata exists, therefore they get found. So, but let's kind of take it a few steps back from the artist perspective, because then this is the academy, so you want to kind of keep it a bit more artist perspective. You're working on an interesting tool called I'm sorry if I remember it wrong, called Hit Potential. Could you share a little bit more about that, what it does, and how it could impact artists?
Absolutely. So the hit potential is something we've been working on for the last 3 years. If any artists in the audience kind of want to try some of our technology, you can go to Musio.com, which is our website, and we have a tagging demo, a search demo. You can actually drop your own music in there and see what data we would generate based on your audio. And also you can try dropping your music into 2 of our search catalogs from our partners, Hypnosis and Melody, and seeing if, you know, what you're similar to in a database of, you know, 60,000 commercial tracks. With the hit potential, what we've been doing is we've taken 100,000 songs that have all been in the top 10 in the last 10 years, and we've trained an AI to say, this is what success looks like. This is what charts. And so you're looking at a kind of a trend over time, but you're also looking at the ability to, you know, automate the process of listening to music. It's not a definitive, this will be a success, this will not be a success. Really what it is doing is it's saying, you know, we've listened to your audio, we've analyzed your audio, and based on the audio file itself and what has previously been successful, we think there's an 89% chance, given the right backing, assuming everything else is in place, that this track could have the potential to be a hit. And so what that helps us do is, you know, when we're working with platforms, you know, and I'll use an example, we're able to say analyze, you know, a top 200 chart versus a playlist of unreleased music, and we can tell that the average score on the top 200 is over 65. And then we can tell that the average score of the unreleased or the newly released music is around 40. So what we're really looking for is everything in that unreleased playlist that's got that score of 65 or above, and then predicting that these will be the ones that will make it into the top 200. So the ability to identify talent, and I was really inspired by, you know, Lewis Capaldi's manager found him on SoundCloud, and he did that by spending 7 months listening to everything that had less than a handful of plays until he found a new undiscovered artist. That's very admirable, but I don't think a lot of people have 7 months to just sit and play random tracks on SoundCloud. So the technology that we're building is designed to help find more talent and to find it more efficiently.
Does that then kind of replace the role of A&R, or does it become a tool for A&Ring?
Great question. So I'm actually a strong believer always in AI as an assistive technology and not a replacement technology. In fact, in the kind of nearly 4 years that I've been running Musio, we've never replaced a human being. It's about building tools that let people do their job and do it better. It was actually while I was working in Singapore at my previous job, BandLab, that I came up with this idea. I had a curator, Tang Wei. Hi, if you're out there, Tang Wei, who used to report to me, and we only had one curator, and it was his job to listen to all the new music uploaded to the platform on BandLab and put it in playlists and publish that to the homepage for discovery. And he would do that by manually listening to about 200 tracks a day, just kind of finding stuff, clicking through, having a listen. But what that meant was he might come to me at the end of the day sometimes and say, I didn't find anything good today. And I'd say, oh, don't worry about it. We'll try again tomorrow. And, with that kind of rate, we were only able to put together, 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of 1 to 4 playlists a week. With one person full time, and we were listening to less than 1% of all the music uploaded to the platform. So we definitely weren't finding the best hits. And our approach was random, but also not super high volume. If you can use technology to basically A, make Tang Wei's job better, but B, allow him to, because he's got this AI assisted technology, generate 10 playlists a day that are all really high quality. And, it only takes him 45 minutes. Well, now he's got a whole other bunch of stuff he can do. He can create some videos, write some content, or maybe just do 50 playlists a day, who knows? But it's really about creating technology that, helps with artist discovery and actually makes the job of the people doing the work better in the long run.
And a lot of what you just described was kind of like analyzing or predicting success of new music that hasn't seen the light of day. But is that a similar, is there an application to even music that has already been released and that you can kind of rediscover something that's going to trend today? Like, in a similar way that, the Fleetwood Mac song is suddenly, revitalized through TikTok, through UGC platforms. Is that something that that someone could use? Your technology to be able to find old ones?
We've been doing this in the background with a couple of partners, especially on the label side. Often a large label will have a back catalogue of, say, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 tracks that they manage, that are signed to their label, that they consider an asset. But nobody's kind of going to sit there and manually listen to the 50,000 on the off chance that one of them would do great on TikTok right now. So again, you can use AI to process that music really efficiently and say, here's an asset that you're undervaluing. Here's some audio that we think would work really well on XYZ platform. Here are the things that are most exciting. And so we actually do that with a couple of clients currently to basically help them maximize the value of the music they already represent.
Okay, cool. So we've got a couple of minutes left, and I wanted to kind of see whether anybody from the floor had questions. And I've got a few arms in the air. Yes, we've got one question. I'm not so sure whether the mic is going to go to him and you'll hear him live, but if it's not, I'll read through the question again. Give me a second. Here we go.
Hi, Hazel and Syaheed. I find Musio to be really, really interesting. My name's Rupak, and I have this problem where every time I finish a track, I've got to upload it to a bunch of different platforms. I've got to go to Bandcamp, I've got to go to SoundCloud, I've got to go to Audius, and then I've got to put in the metadata of what the tags are. So I'm curious to ask how your tagging process comes out at the end of the chain. So you put the audio through, and then you get the tags. Does it come out as like an Excel file with like all the tags, and then you have to manually copy these things and put them onto each platform? Or do you have some kind of a thing where you can automate that, and then it's ingrained in the audio file, and then you put the audio file on, and then kind of like recognizes the metadata? Does that make sense?
Yeah, great question. And so the reality is, it kind of depends on who the platform is. So we do work with a bunch of companies where your music may be getting uploaded. So a couple that I can name, for example, Jamendo or Epidemic Sound. If anyone here has music going onto those platforms, they will be auto-tagged with all of the Musio data. You don't need to do anything, and they will be best enabled for discovery. Obviously, with some of the other platforms, we're not necessarily working with absolutely everybody yet. And so where possible, an artist, if you have the option to, drop your track into our website, get the tags, and then add them, sort of type them in as you're uploading a track. I've managed artists myself, and I know it can be pretty tedious typing out the data as you upload it, but having good, accurate data is still helpful. And if Musio can sort of even just save you sort of 5-10 minutes per track, automating that, then you can certainly get that data for free on a per track basis on the Museo website. So it really depends. And obviously my goal is to get as many companies as possible to work with us, so that, it really does take that burden off the artist. And, another client that we work with, for example, BeatStars. So if anyone's familiar, it's where Lil Nas X bought the backing track for Old Town Road. BeatStars currently tag over 20,000 songs a day with our data. Everything that gets uploaded to BeatStars gets auto-tagged with Musio, and it's now instantly more discoverable within their search engine. So I'm really excited about those kind of tech-forward companies that do this already. But I'm also working day in, day out. My solo goal is to make sure that every company has better data and adopts a system so that you are going to be more easily found. But as with all things in music, there's a lot of platforms, and like the few you named, they're all kind of working a little bit separately at the minute. So our job is never done on the metadata front, but I'm working on it.
Great question. So with that, we actually are out of time. As I said earlier, 15 minutes goes by really quickly. Thank you very much, Hazel. Have a great afternoon, morning ahead first, and we'll see you soon.